yeah. 5-star. LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up, hey. 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 Way down in the back.
We are live. Where the ring at? Where the ring's at?
If you can't see me right now and you're watching on the audio clip, I have a Natty ring on my finger, and I'm doing the "you can't see me" gesture.
Can't see me. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, you can't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. We'll get into it, of course, obviously. Man, wow. That Twitter kind of exploded on that. I mean,
ruined what was a great night.
Way more than I thought it was going to be. Absolutely. I mean, totally ruined what was an amazing time for the LSU Tigers. Absolutely. But lots to talk about, a lot of good things to talk about. We don't have to talk about the negative for too long. We will talk about it because obviously everybody's going to want to talk about that, and they're going to talk about it for a while now, and they already have been talking about it at exhaust. I think it's been exhausted at this point, but we got to give our opinions, and I think we should. But let's talk about the good first. I mean, let's talk about the good. Your 2023 women's basketball team, second year under Kim Mulkey, are national champions.
Baby.
I mean, what an accomplishment. Year two. Zach, I don't know how – I don't know if anybody understands, like, the level I mean, how hard that is. I mean, it's just unheard of. I mean, Kim Mulkey, no question, is on the Mount Rushmore of women's college basketball. I mean, she has solidified herself as an absolute legend. You are a 3-time national champion at Baylor, and then in 2 years you come to LSU, who had won 9 seasons before you got there, and you are now national champions. Zach, 9 wins. 9. You took a 9-win team, and in 2 years, you're national champions. Kim Mulkey is the most talented coach you have in your entire athletic program. And I mean that. I mean,
big statement.
She's got 4 titles under her belt.
Obviously.
Clearly the most accomplished. I think she's the best coach you have in your athletic program. And that's saying something. I mean, that's really saying something with who we have at LSU.
For sure.
You get the best of the best at LSU, and national championships are the expectation, and Kim Mulkey is the person to deliver. And, Zach, I've been searching for the clip. I cannot find the clip. I'm going to have to find it eventually. But, I mean, they can believe me or not. I mean, that's fine. Maybe some of them heard it whenever we recorded it. I don't know.
We might have it on a short. You may have to go through the shorts.
I went through some of the shorts. I couldn't find any in the shorts, but I need to go through some more. I haven't gone through all of them. But I said that Kim Mulkey would bring the next national championship to LSU.
I can be a witness.
I mean,
you did say it.
Don't call me a prophet, but I had full confidence in that guess. I mean, I had full confidence. I don't even know if I would call it a guess. I would say it was an educated guess. And I don't feel like it was that much of a reach. And here we are talking about a national championship team. I mean, wow, what a season! And Zach, what a coach too. I mean, she's done it 3 other times, and you saw how emotional and how much it meant to her.
Yeah,
and it's her 4th time doing it. She's doing it for her home state, and she's doing it for Louisiana, and she's doing it for a school she loves, a school her son played for. I mean, it's amazing, and she is amazing. I mean, you can't say anything more about Kim Mulkey other than she is a legend, and she will be in the history books of women's college basketball for ages to come. And when you talk about all-time greats in women's college basketball, you must mention Kim Mulkey's name. I mean, she freaking won a national championship as a player at Louisiana Tech. I mean, come on. The chick's got 5 titles in her name. Like, I just she was a competitor on the court when she played, and dadgummit, she's a competitor as a coach. I mean, there's none like her. And I know all of this has nothing to do with the game from an analysis standpoint, but holy smokes, Kim Mulkey 2 years ago shows up on campus, looks up into the rafters of the women's of the PMAC, excuse me, and says, "Man, Final Four, but none of these say national championship, and that's why I'm here." And boy, she made good on that promise. There's a lot of coaches that say that. There's a lot of coaches that want to do that when they say that, and they mean it. But Kim Mulkey is the one who did it, and I mean, she's amazing, Zach. I mean, that's all I can really say about her.
She's the only coach to do it with 2 different teams. Only coach.
I mean, she's up there with Gino and Pat Summitt. There's no question about it.
I mean, she doesn't have the amount of national titles that they do. But considering especially this last one with LSU, how she did it as quickly as she did it.
Absolutely.
And to do it with a completely different team. Wow. Dude, amazing. And I got to be honest. I mean, I knew LSU, obviously got kind of the luck of the draw with the bracket. And, I felt really confident once they got Iowa because
a great draw.
It was a great draw.
They snubbed you. So you got
a better matchup. You got a better matchup in the national championship. But I got to be honest, I didn't think LSU would have, the depth to be able to compete in that game. And did they prove me wrong? And I'm so excited and so happy that they did because, goodness gracious, I mean, we can get into it now.
102 points.
102 points. Reagan, they were saying, I said myself the last podcast that they would have to score 75 to 85 points in order to win the game.
To be in it, probably. To probably be in it.
To be in it. And that is the exact case because Iowa scored 85.
Yep.
You did what you did on defense, and that team scored 85. And that would have put you in it. 75 to 85 would have barely put you in it. I mean, you would have had to hit the highest mark that we had predicted in order to just tie.
Yep.
And there was people that, the analysts pregame were saying, they got to hold Iowa to under 60. It didn't matter. It didn't matter because this team was shooting in a way that they had not done all season. The bench came out and played a way that they had not all season. It was absolutely phenomenal. Blew my mind the way that they were shooting the ball. It just blew my mind. So Reagan, I guess we can get into it. First quarter, I got nervous at the beginning because they had 3 really quick turnovers. And Flau'jae Johnson, a freshman, she makes a couple mistakes, turns the ball over, and Caitlin Clark comes down and she shoots one from 30 plus and drains it.
Stiff range.
She is a phenomenal basketball player.
Incredible.
If she has any space, it is going in. Do not doubt it. It is going in the basket. If she has the slightest bit of space, and she takes the shot, it's going in. Like, it's in the 90th percentile, like that shot's going in. It is insane. Her range and her accuracy and her ability to consistently make shots from outside of the perimeter. It is phenomenal. So I got nervous. I got nervous early, as I'm sure you did, and I'm sure as a lot of LSU fans did. They were probably beginning to wonder, okay, here it is. Here's where we get beat. This girl is going to own us. And in certain ways, she did. I mean, she scored 30 points, but she was averaging over 30, near 40 points a game. We talked about it ad nauseum. You're not going to hold her down. You just have to limit her in some way. In some way, you have to limit her. And obviously, we discussed this, and it was all over social media. Look, the officiating was horrible. It was bad.
Both sides.
It was bad for both teams. And I'll start off by saying Caitlin Clark did not deserve that technical foul. She did not deserve that technical foul at all. It was a very soft technical foul call. There was a lot of soft calls in the paint against LSU and Iowa. Just a really bad game. And I'll say this. Part of the reason that you had bad officiating is what affected the overall outcome of this game. If you don't have bad officiating, and it kind of affected it for both teams. It did affect it for both teams. Angel Reese had to sit. Angel Reese and Alexis Morris and Kateri Poole, your three starters, three of your best players, they had to go and sit on the bench because of the officiating. They're the two bigs for Iowa. Forgive me,
Caitlin Clark stayed out there.
Warnock and Sinano, they both had to sit early because of foul trouble, because of the horrible officiating. The difference in the game was, how did both teams handle the officiating? How did both teams handle officiating?
And
well,
depth.
for Iowa, it hurt them. It hurt them because their two bigs weren't able to affect the game like they could have done if like they were doing in the first quarter, early in the first quarter. Cizano, however you pronounce her name, she was having a really good first quarter. Warnock had a three-pointer, I believe, in the first quarter, or maybe it was second quarter. I can't remember exactly. Don't quote me on that, but Warnock could have had a lot better game. She only had 9, but because of foul trouble, they had to sit. Because Caitlin Clark was in foul trouble, she had to sit. I guarantee you, she's not sitting at all in the championship game if she doesn't get in foul trouble. But she had to sit 5 minutes and that affected the game. And unfortunately for Iowa, it affected it. They handled it negatively. They weren't able to be as effective down in the paint. Caitlin Clark wasn't able to score as much. If she's in the game 5 more minutes, she's going to score more points. But because she wasn't in the game 5 of the minutes, she couldn't score. So for Iowa, unfortunately, they took that circumstance and they weren't able to get over that hump of the terrible officiating. Vice versa, LSU was. In fact, LSU dominated getting over that hump because of the horrible officiating. The horrible officiating gave the opportunity for Jasmine Carson to do what she did in the first half. And that was the story of the first half.
Unreal.
A player that only scored 11 points in the entire tournament before the national championship, a player that in the previous 3 games had done nothing, literally 0 points in the previous 3 games prior to the national championship. She comes out, and not only does she affect the game, but she takes over the game. I mean, it went from the Caitlin Clark show to the Jasmine Carson show. That's what happened in the first half. She goes 5 of 5 from downtown. She goes 7 of 7 from the field. Insane. Dude, Reagan,
the heat checks were unreal.
It was just one of those days where everything was going right. Everything was going right. Flajay Johnson, she has a couple turnovers. She gets a wide open 3 in the corner, buries it. How many times have we seen LSU miss a wide open 3 in the corner? A lot. Yeah. How bad was LSU at shooting the 3-point shot this entire tournament? Horrible. Reagan, you shot 65%. Yeah. You shot nearly 65% from the 3-point range. You were 11 of 17. Jasmine
really
Carson
good.
in the first half goes 5 for 5 from
Poa.
deep.
Poa.
Poa
Put two
went
in.
2 for 2 from deep. The bench came in and they dominated. They did what the bench had not done at all the entire season. They came in and they completely dominated. Jasmine Carson gives you 22. Last tier Poa gives you 6. Samaya Smith didn't affect the game as much, but she gave you 2. She gave you an offensive rebound. She gave you 2 defensive rebounds. I mean, she had the block. I mean, they came in and they gave you extremely valuable minutes whenever you needed them the most.
Yeah.
And because they did that, that won the game. Won the game. Listen, we're gonna rave about Alexis Morris, and I'm gonna let you take that. I'm gonna let you rave about Alexis Morris and rave about the job that Angel Reese and the starters did and LaDaisy. I'm gonna let you rave about that. But listen, this game was won in the first half. It was won in the first half because of what your bench did in the first half. Now, it was finished off by the starters in the second half and the job that they did and the phenomenal job that they did. But this game was won in the first half because of the job that your bench did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think LaDaisy didn't get into foul trouble as early as Angel and Alexis did. And she stayed out there with Poa and Jasmine Carson, and she had an incredible game, put up over 20 points. I think it was her most complete game of the entire season. Zach, you hit the nail on the head. Your bench came in and gave you an incredible lift, a lift like none other the entire season. And
it was like everything they put up was falling. I mean, like how many times were you? Right, I don't know how many times you said it, and you can tell, but I can't tell you how many times I was like, "What is happening? What is happening right now?"
That's what
they're hitting everything.
Yeah,
I was in utter shock. I was going nuts. Mom and Dad they were trying to get a nap in, a good old sunny nap in. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, I couldn't do it. I was going berserk because LSU was doing something that they had not done. He had not watched at all. I watched every single game this season, Reagan. LSU bench, they never did that. They never were that clutch.
Well, you never scored that many points. You did score that many points early in the season, but against an opponent like this,
no,
absolutely not. And you break the record for most points in a national championship game. I mean, it was unreal. It was unreal. Most points in a half. Analysts are saying you got to hold Iowa to like 60 point or less, which is number one. I feel like it's a knock on LSU because they had almost scored 80 points in the last 2 games.
Correct.
And to say that LSU had to hold them 60 points or less to win, I feel like was ridiculous. A horrendous take from the analyst to begin with. But homie, they put up 59 points in the first half. So you can take that analyst and throw it in the trash because we got a whole new ball game and you're up 17. And I don't want people to say, "Oh, the refs took this game away from Iowa."
No,
it was 18-19 on total fouls, and Caitlin Clark was in the game the entire time Jasmine Carson was snapping off.
That's
the
correct.
Entire time.
Yeah.
So you can't say that they affected the game in that way because it was on both sides.
Iowa took more free throws. It was only one
Exactly.
more, but they took 21 free throws. LSU took 20, and they had a better percentage at the free throw line.
Yeah, and you had an opportunity on the technical foul. You had an opportunity to get 4 at a
6 point, potentially 7 point,
potentially 7 point, turnaround. But you only have 2 free throws out of it.
Yep.
And so you can't say officiating handled the game. I mean, you had a 7 point potential there, and you got 2 out of it. And Zach, so I will kind of go to the bat for the referees a little bit there. I don't think the technical foul should have been called. I will say that. But the referees were asked after the game, what in the world happened with that? Yeah. So something the broadcast did not know, something the broadcast was not told, is that Iowa had been warned for delay of game already for throwing the ball. And in the rule book, you are to immediately give the ball after a shot is made to an official or find the closest official. And if you discard the ball without doing so, it's considered a delay of game. And they had already done that, and they had already been warned. So when Caitlin Clark grabbed the ball, and I mean, she was. Let's be honest, she was frustrated.
She was frustrated.
I don't think it was a like she lashed out. Like I don't think she lashed out in any way, but you could tell it was a frustration move. Sure. And they had already been warned, and the referees see in her frustration she takes the ball and chunks it out of bounds. Not chunks may not even be the best word, but like tosses it out of bounds.
Yeah.
And so they had already warned them.
Let's go.
They had already warned them, so they called the technical foul. So it wasn't just like that came out of the blue. So I still disagree with the call. I think it was a little soft, which the referees were calling. I mean, every nitpicking thing the whole game. So it really, I mean, honestly, if you want to say it, Zach, they were consistent with how they were calling the game. So, I mean, as frustrating as that was, and as fans, you would love to see them play more and allow them to play more. I mean, you can't say they were inconsistent because they were pretty consistent. They just called a very tight game. It was the game was called too tight. Now, I don't like that. Like they were comparing the broadcast folks were comparing Angel Reese and Cesano's like elbow calls, and they were not the same. They were not the same. So when Angel Reese turned, didn't even hit her elbow doesn't come up. Her elbow doesn't come up, and if you watch, which the folks on the broadcast never saw it, and it frustrated the life out of me that they continued to talk about it and say, well, because Angel Reese did this and they didn't call it, they're not going to call this. And they said that like over and over, but they never showed the replay again. If you watch the replay of when Angel Reese did it, she goes up and the girl gets too close and she catches Angel's shoulder. She doesn't catch an elbow. Angel is going up and she catches the shoulder as she goes up on her because she's all up on her, and the shoulder hits her in the mouth. And that's why she falls back. It wasn't an elbow. But when you see Cesano's, bro, how many stinking times did she elevate that elbow and turn with it? She did it like 4 or 5 times. Like it was her move. She would post up, Caitlin would dish it in, and she would hit the elbow move. I mean, she did it over and over. Like when you clearly see that chicken arm go out and throw an elbow to turn into a player and get a shot up, eventually you got to stink and call it. I mean, she did it 4 or 5 times and they never called it.
Squared her in the chest.
Yes. She did it to Angel too. She did it to both of them, LaDaisia and Angel. But anyways, the officiating was way too tight, and that really irritated me. But the bench comes in, does what they need to do to really, dominate this game. That was the difference. Is Iowa's bench could not keep up with what LSU's bench was doing. Caitlin Clark couldn't keep up with what LSU's bench was doing in the first half. Put up 59 points, go into the half with a 17-point lead, and then the starters get back in the game and they do what they need to do to close the game out. Zach, 4 of your 5 starters are in double digits, and you had a player come off the bench and put up 22. The one starter who didn't. In
comparison, to cut you off quickly,
yeah, go ahead.
LSU's bench put up 30. Their bench put up 8.
Yeah, exactly. You were the deeper team, and I think we talked about this a little bit. They lean heavily on their starting 5. And LSU has some players on their bench, and we knew it, that can have success. We knew at times Jasmine Carson could pop off. We knew at times Samaya Smith could pop off. And then they come in and they do it. And when you needed it to happen, it happened. I mean, when you needed it most in a national championship, they did it. And Alexis Morris didn't have that great of a first half because she was sat out. And she comes out into the second half and balls out. I mean, Alexis could not be stopped. She could not be stopped.
Her mid-range, it was automatic.
Automatic. Angel Reese gets her double-double. again and breaks the NCAA record for double-doubles while she's at it. I mean, it was a phenomenal performance from top to bottom. It was an incredible performance from the bench, and it was absolutely what you had to have in this game. And I cannot stress that enough. It blows my mind. Like, Kim Mulkey knows she's got to have an offensive output in this game.
Yeah.
And she puts her trust in these players to go in off the bench and do what they need to do to win this game. Yeah. And they step up to the plate, and they do it. I mean, that speaks to the personality of this team, the character of this team, the talent of this team. And they're champions because of it. They are national champions because of it. It was a whole team effort. You had 5 players in double-digit figures. You had 3 players with 20 points or more.
And huge shout-out to Jasmine Carson, a Memphian. She is from Memphis, Tennessee.
From Whitehaven, absolutely. She is. So
in her final game.
In her final game, absolutely. Which I was kind of shocked she got all tournament team. When I saw that, I was like, I mean, she had the one game and that was amazing, but I was like,
she had 2.
So I'm not gonna knock her. I'm not gonna sit here and knock her because what she did was absolutely amazing. But tournament, I was kind of shocked.
That is pretty shocking. I'm not gonna lie.
So they get it done though, Zach. They're national champions, 102 points. I mean, I cannot even believe that we're talking about that right now. I mean, the reason analysts were saying, "Oh, they've got to hold them to 60 or less," is because LSU struggled offensively. They struggled offensively.
Great defense, not good offense.
Correct. And LSU lived off the boards and in the paint. You lived off of it.
Correct.
And South Carolina was such a dangerous matchup because they were better at the boards and they were better in the paint. And when you take that away from LSU, you handicap them because their three-point shooting had been so atrocious. Well, with the matchup with Iowa, you are better in the paint, you're better on the boards, and then they shoot lights out from 3. You shoot 65% for 3. It was a recipe for a dominant victory, and that's exactly what you got. And it was amazing. I am so thoroughly impressed, and it feels so vindicating because I have no idea who this podcast is or where it is or what the name is, but I've been seeing on TikTok this same podcast pop up on my thing, and they were playing little video clips on TikTok of their thing. And 2 times this girl said she was not impressed with LSU. She was not impressed with LSU whatsoever and that they were going to get beat. Well, they went and beat Virginia Tech. And the guy says, well, now what? They're in the national championship. They just beat a number 1 seed in Virginia Tech. What do you have to say now? And she says, I'm going to double down. I'm still not impressed with them. And Caitlin Clark is going to shoot the lights out, and they're going to lose this. Well, boy, does that
What is your excuse now?
Yeah, you better be impressed now.
You going to triple down now?
You're going to triple down. I mean, homies went up and put up the best offensive performance in national championship history, and you're impressed now. I mean, you absolutely are impressed. Look, Zach, you had to recognize that Caitlin Clark was going to get hers. For sure. Like every time she shot and it went in, like of course you were like, oh my gosh, right? But like I was never upset, like because that's just how it was. Like there was times when Alexis Morris, there was absolutely nothing more she could have done, like nothing more, and Caitlin just hits the shot. Like you can't. I don't know if there's ever a shooter like her ever again, or ever will be, because there was times when she was wide open and she would hit it, and then there was times when you could not contest a shot any better and she hit it. She's a phenomenal player. She's one of the greatest players to ever play women's college basketball, and I am so pleased with how LSU handled things offensively to be able to overcome this game, because the reality is, offensively, going into this game, you definitely were the underdog, and 102 points. You put that to bed. You put it to bed. So your national champs, second year of Kim Mulkey, and she came and accomplished exactly what she said she was going to. And it feels amazing.
What's really scary, Reagan, is they might be better next year.
Yeah, you have the number one player in the nation who's like redshirting this year.
And the number
on your bench. And you have the number one player in the country in this class coming in next year as well.
Who was the number one player? Who am I missing, Reagan? Who was the number one player in this past year that redshirted?
Well, I'm assuming she redshirted because she didn't play all year, but it's Aaliyah Williams.
Oh, yeah. No, Aaliyah Williams is coming in, correct?
No, Aaliyah Williams been on the team.
No, Michaela Williams.
Michaela Williams been on the team. Yeah. Let me go double check that.
Michaela Williams is the number one recruit coming in.
Well, we have the number one recruit in the nation on our team now, I'm pretty sure. I think. Because we had the number one class, right? 2 years in a row.
This upcoming season.
But I think it was back to back.
Coming in. I don't know. You could be right, but either way, regardless, the job that Kim Mulkey is doing is going to sustain itself because with her recruiting and what you just did with the talent that you had, you now even more so set yourself up to continue this train, for this train to keep rolling. Angel Reese is coming back. Kateri Poole is coming back. Flajay Johnson is coming back. Samaya Smith is coming back. Last Tier Poa is going to be coming back. I mean, and then you have the number one recruit in the country coming in, the number 7 recruit in the country coming in to help you get some more boards, to help replace LaDaisy Williams. Michaela Williams is coming in to help replace Alexis Morris. This train is going to continue to roll. They're going to continue to compete for national championships and Final Four.
It was Elisa Williams that I was thinking of, so I was getting her confused.
All good.
Elisa Williams is on the team now. She's a freshman, and I was getting her confused with Michaela Williams, right?
Yeah, Michaela Williams is the one coming in this next season.
Yeah. So
Rosiaro or Rose?
Rosiaro.
Rosiaro, however you pronounce it.
Yes. I mean, an amazing class coming in. And by the way, I think they were all in attendance for the game. So, man, it's going to get better, and it's going to continue to thrive. Kim Mulkey, I think, is going to get more. She's going to have more.
Yeah.
She did it at Baylor. She's definitely going to do it at LSU. So, more to come. Zach, so I guess we need to talk about it.
For sure.
I could care less to talk about it, honestly, but we need to talk about it. The Angel Reese thing at the end of the game, the "you can't see me" gesture with also her pointing to her ring finger with Caitlin Clark. So for me, I feel like all in all, it has taken away from what the girls did. And I'm not upset with Angel Reese about it. I'm just talking about in the whole scope of everything with the media and all this. Like, I feel like that has gotten more attention than what LSU did.
Correct.
Than what Angel Reese did in the game.
Correct.
Than what Kim Mulkey accomplished. Than what Alexis Morris accomplished. Than what Jasmine Carson accomplished. LaDaisy Williams scoring 20. Like, I feel like it is overshadowing what happened, and that's what irritates me the most about it. But also, like, the clear double standards that are present. That frustrates me as well. You absolutely cannot watch Angel Reese do it and begin to absolutely lambaste her on social media. I mean, slander her to the highest degree. I mean, some of these people are saying some things that are absolutely despicable. So they're saying things that they would never, ever, ever, ever say to anyone in person. Never. They would never say it unless they were behind a keyboard. And I mean, you cannot do that after Caitlin Clark has been doing it the entire tournament, Zach. I mean, that's my thought on it. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Do I think it was necessary, Zach? Do I think it was necessary? I don't think it was necessary. I would have been fine with her. Like, I'm fine with the competitiveness. And we talked about this, Zach. Angel has done this a few times throughout the season with her dances, with her, competitive. Like, man, every time it happens just about in every men's sports game, like football game, baseball game, basketball game. Like, it happens, and everybody's like, it's competitiveness. They love the sport. They're passionate. And, like, there's been a few girls do it this year within women's basketball, and people haven't liked it. And one of those have been Angel Reese. And she's gotten backlash for it, and we've talked about how, like, why not? Like, do you not want to bring more attention to the sport, to let them be passionate about the sport that they're playing at the highest Division I level, to express how they're feeling in the moment? Like, I don't know about you, Zach, but if I was that good at something, I would be celebrating and doing stuff too. Like, for sure. Every time LSU men's baseball hits a home run, what do they do when they come home plate? They hit the Tommy White every time. The whole bench does it. And everybody thinks it's awesome. Everybody thinks it's cool. I think it's cool. When Gavin Dugas hits the 2-run home run to take the lead against Tennessee, game 1 of the series, and they come to the plate and they all hit the folded arm, like, it's lit up in the box. And everybody freaking loves it.
Yeah.
But then Angel Reese or somebody else in women's basketball does it, and it's not okay. But in this case, with Caitlin Clark, she had been doing it all tournament. And, the video clip has gone around of when Angel Reese did it and when Caitlin Clark did it. I mean, I've probably seen it 100 times. And I watched the Louisville game. I watched the game, Louisville, Iowa. Yes, I did too. And there's been people who have been saying that Caitlin Clark wasn't doing it at somebody like Angel Reese was. You clearly did not watch it then.
Yeah, correct.
She was doing it to Haley Van Lith.
Yes.
She was doing it to Haley Van Lith, and the video clip that's been going around doesn't show the full video, because if you see the full video clip, Haley Van Lith walks into the shot just seconds after she does it.
Correct.
And Caitlin Clark also told Haley Van Lith in the game, because they were talking trash back and forth, and the camera catches her saying, "You're down 15 points. Shut up."
Yep.
And then in the South Carolina game, everybody saw her wave off. Is it Leah or Zia Cook?
I don't remember, but she waved off.
It's Cook. It's Cook. I know it's Cook. I can't remember her first name, but she waved her off. I mean, that's just disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like, you are in game. You are in the game. You are literally in the middle of a possession, and the chick is wide open from the 3, and Caitlin Clark hits her with this. Like, and everybody says, "Oh, she's competitive." And bro, 2 different games, I saw her hit this. She's hitting this, and she's coming to the crowd, and she's holding her hands up like, what now? What else can I do? And she's praised for it.
Correct.
Like, do you not think she was? She targeted that. Clearly, the wave off was targeted at the player. Clearly, you can't see me was targeted at Haley Van Lith. Like, every girl that went back and forth with her, she did it to them. And Angel Reese was just returning the favor.
That's targeting the opponent's fans.
And you can't just say she's competitive. It's amazing. She's whatever you want to call it. Like, she's competitive. She's passionate. And then as soon as Angel Reese does it, she's classless. She's unsportsmanlike. She's whatever. Like, it is such a double standard, and people who cannot see that are absolutely ignorantly blind. Do I think it was necessary? No, I don't think it was necessary. I don't think you have to go to a player and do that. But LSU made it very clear before the game that they felt like she had disrespected South Carolina,
a fellow SEC team.
They felt like she had done a fellow SEC team wrong, and that she had been disrespectful. So they let you know before the game. They let you know. And when you decide, look, do I think it crosses the line a little bit? I think it does. I think it crossed the line a little bit with Angel Reese. But I also think that Caitlin Clark crossed the line.
Correct.
So when you cross the line, you open yourself up to ridicule. When you step into that area, you open yourself up for someone to do it back to you.
Correct.
So when Angel Reese does it back, like, you should not be like, which I think Caitlin Clark handled it well. I think the whole media, like people in media personalities and social media, is really where it went disarray. Like Caitlin Clark, I don't think handled it bad. But the double standard of what people have been saying is very evident. It's just, you cannot say she's classless and unsportsmanlike and praise Caitlin Clark when she does it. I think they need to be welcomed, to be competitive, to be passionate. I think you can cross a line and be cocky and arrogant, and I think it did get there. But when you're to that point, you have opened yourself up to that criticism, and you have opened yourself up to someone responding in that way, and that's exactly what Angel Reese did. And LSU told them. LSU told media about that before the game. So it was well known. It was well known.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, and I'll hit on this a little bit more, I mean, a lot of the things you said, I agree with. Could she have done it, better and maybe not as followed around her as much? Sure. But, I mean, we're getting really picky at that point. I mean, The issue does not lie with the fact that she did it. The issue lies with the reaction that it garnered. The reaction that it garnered was not near, and it shouldn't have garnered any reaction. The only reaction it should have garnered was, man, she's, in the same way that Caitlin Clark has been competitive and has, trash talked, Angel Reese is doing the same thing. Another thing we gotta realize is this is a 20-year-old girl who just had the biggest moment happen in her entire life. Emotions are high. Everything is amped up.
Yeah.
And could she have done, could she have chosen instead of trash talking, could she have chosen to go over and begin to celebrate?
Maybe the LSU fans.
Yeah, she could have. But also, that's not Angel Reese. Angel Reese, we know that she is who she is. And
Correct.
She wants to be who she is. And she wants to embrace who she is. And she likes to talk. And that's fine. Look.
She talks about that with her brother all the time. That her and her brother did that all the time growing up.
That's who she is. And guess what? That's okay. She is a 20-year-old girl who just won the biggest thing of her entire life to this point. Me and you, Reagan, we can get on a basketball court today and go and play, a game in a gym somewhere with all of our friends, and we can be absolutely nauseating to each other. And guess what? It's not going to garner any attention whatsoever.
No.
Media-wise. It is not going to garner any attention. The reason this garnered attention was because it was on a nationally televised broadcast. And people who are ignorant and stupid and people that are classless themselves took it and ran with it. We have grown adult men, Keith Alberman saying, "What an effing idiot." towards a 20-year-old girl who is at the prime of her life enjoying what she just accomplished. We have Dave Portnoy saying that it was classless. You are a grown man. To Keith and to Dave, you are grown men who are criticizing and belittling a 20-year-old female that was celebrating and didn't celebrate how you liked it. I'm sorry. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
Get over yourself. And the issue with this, Reagan, and I'm not saying this is everybody. But there's people that looked at this and they took it completely the wrong way because A, they are either racist, B, they are either sexist, C, they're either both, or D, they lost a bet. They lost a bet. They put a lot of money on Iowa and they lost a bet. So listen, that's the reality of this situation. That is the reality of this situation, unfortunately, and that's unfortunately the world that we live in. Instead of being able to celebrate the great accomplishment that this team did, instead of being able to look at a team that on paper did not stack up well to be able to go out and win a national championship, they're in year two of a rebuild. Instead of being able to celebrate that, we've got people on Twitter, people on the media that are bashing and slandering and trying to belittle a player that was a part of that accomplishment. And it is honestly, it's sad. It's sad to see. It's upsetting and it's extremely frustrating. And I understand, I am LSU biased, but when you take the LSU bias glasses off and you look at this just as a moral being, as a believer in Christ, as someone who believes in the moral laws and of the Bible, who believes in all of those things in Scripture,
all people created in the image of God.
It's wrong. It is wrong the way that people have outlashed and bashed Angel Reese for something she did. Again, could she have done it a better way? Yes.
Yeah.
Should we react the way that we did on social? Should people react the way that they did on social media towards her because of it? No. Worry about yourself. Worry about yourself first. Completely disappointing to see how it happened. But listen, Angel Reese, don't stop being you. Continue to have that passion. Reagan, how many times did people, LSU, media, praise players on the 2019 national championship team for the things that they did on the field that were considered trash talking?
Oh, absolutely.
We came
grittying, bro. They made grittying like a universal celebration. The 2019 LSU football team.
Reagan, Joe Burrow walked over to the Vanderbilt sideline in 2019 and said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just put 500. I just put 500 yards on y'all.
And he hit Texas with the wave.
Texas, he's hit him with the pass.
He hit Texas with the wave.
Justin Jefferson against Oklahoma. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just scored 4 touchdowns on y'all. We loved it. We celebrated it. The national media celebrated it. Said, wow, look at how amazing this team is. How awesome they are, right? They ate it up. They labeled it as, man, they're confident. This is a confident team. They know how to ride the line between confident and cocky. But when this happens,
they called it swag. They called it swag.
It's swag. But this happens, and all we hear is
classless,
thug, ghetto, unsportsmanlike, fake champion. That's all we hear. That is a completely wrong way to view this situation. It's honestly, it is ignorant to take that stance. It honestly is.
And the dude, Dave Portnoy, however you pronounce his name, is the CEO of a company
that is known for that.
He is allowed to be so vulgar towards a 20-year-old girl, Keith Olbermann, to be so vulgar openly towards a girl like that is beyond absurd. Look, if she went too far, then two wrongs don't make a right. You don't make it better by dropping the F-bomb or calling her a POS.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it better. That makes it worse.
Correct.
Like, the common sense went way out the dome on those two guys. Like, I will never understand how that's okay. I will never understand how that's okay.
Look, both of these girls, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, both of these girls are phenomenal women's basketball player. Caitlin Clark might go down as the greatest women's basketball player ever. She arguably
most points in a tournament ever.
I mean, she is above and beyond so much of women's basketball players. Like, she is the Steph Curry of women's basketball. And Angel Reese, you know, and they're completely different. I know I see people out here, they're comparing them like, you know, because of what happened, you know, well, Angel Reese, she's not even as good. She only scored 15. Bro,
completely different player.
She owns the NCAA record for double-doubles in a season. And we got people on Twitter saying, not even good. And I had to comment under that, Reagan. Hey, there's a reason why your comment got 8 likes, and there's a reason why ours got over 1,300 and continuing to rise, right? Because one is stupid and just false, and one is a fact based on stats, based on actual physical evidence, right? But they're not in the same player. Caitlin Clark's a guard. Angel Reese is a big. They're not the same player, and we're out here comparing them because you're upset because of Angel Reese's actions, and so then you decide to belittle them. You know, we got people on media belittling them, you know, because of what she did. We got people just on Twitter and social media saying, "Oh, she's not even that good." Da, da, da. Okay, if you're gonna take that stance, you're just wrong. You're just wrong because you can't argue with facts. You can't argue with stats. Angel Reese, and guess what? Angel Reese has got 2 more years. Angel Reese got 2 more years in women's college basketball.
Last statement on this, because we do need to move forward and talk about the midweek. We also need to take a break. But William Tate got asked about it, president of the university.
I love it.
And he says, if you don't like it, then beat her. If you don't like it, then beat her. Hey, if you're beating her, she ain't doing that.
No.
If you beat her, that don't happen. It don't happen.
You got to back it up. And Angel Reese.
She backed it up. 34 double-doubles on the season, 102 points in the national championship game, and she is the national champion.
She was out almost the entire second quarter.
And still put up a double-double. Like, she backed it up. Who cares? Who cares if she did it? They're national champions. Let her celebrate a little bit. Jeez. Anyways, but I love President Tate's, Dr. Tate's response. He also said it's swag country here in LSU.
I love it.
So, anyways, so tip of the cap to Dr. Tate having the girls back. All right, Zach, let's hit a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk briefly about the midweek game for the baseball team tomorrow night. But your 2023 women's basketball team are national champions. Zach, first time you are a basketball champion, men's or women's. It will be a day we will forever remember. All right, let's hit a quick break, and we'll talk about the midweek right after this.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
All right, right back at it. Zach, you gonna come in here and discuss the midweek game? Where'd you go? Zach? Well, Oh, well, I guess Zach does not want to discuss the midweek game. Maybe he'll get back in here in a second. So with men's baseball, I keep saying men's baseball because I've been saying women's basketball. Baseball team tomorrow night, Tuesday, 6:30 in the box. Typical midweek game. In-state Nicholls State will be coming to town. So here's a little tidbit. I think we need to talk about the third game against Tennessee a little bit. So Thatcher Hurd comes in third game. There you are. What happened? What happened?
I had to go grab my DoorDash. I had to.
Okay. No worries. So third game, Zach, I wanted to talk about the third game just a little bit briefly with Texas because it has an impact on tomorrow night's game, and it's some pretty big news.
You mean Tennessee?
The third game at Tennessee, yes. So Thatcher Hurd comes in and does not even record an out. It was another really, really rough showing for Thatcher Hurd. Look, guys, Thatcher Hurd's talent is there. There's no question about it. That's why he's the number 2 prospect for the MLB draft in the 2024 draft. But the dude, I think, is still trying to get back to 100% from his back surgery. I don't think his mechanics are down pat. It's very clear that he's not comfortable. Guys, if you think he's bad, you need to go look at his numbers at UCLA last year. He had 6 starts. His ERA was 1.06. He had like 48 strikeouts to like 12 walks. Yeah. So the dude's stuff is good. Let's not like destroy the dude and trash him. His stuff is good. He had a season-ending back surgery, and he's still probably coming back from it. So I think he needs to come off the rotation. I think everybody realizes that. I think Jay Johnson realizes that. And that leads to my point. He does not record on out on a Saturday in the third game against Tennessee. Does not pitch very much, and Jay Johnson says it is likely that he will start tomorrow night's game against Nicholls State, and that is big.
Which I love, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. So he's probably going to get the start tomorrow night, which means that you're going to see a change in the rotation. Thatcher Hurd will go tomorrow night, and then if you want my opinion, Zach, everybody's going to say now, well, okay, then who is your third starter? Honestly, I think you keep it TBD. I think you keep it TBD every weekend until somebody maybe emerges. Yeah. I think you obviously have Paul Skeens and Ty Floyd as your set 1 and 2. I think you keep it TBD every weekend until somebody emerges. Here's why I want it TBD. Chase Shores would be my go-to for game 3. But Chase Shores, I think, is valuable out of the pen. And if you get to a situation where you absolutely need Chase Shores to come in, I don't want him to be tied to the Sunday game where you don't use him because I think he's valuable out of the pen. So I think you hold him in the pen, and then if you don't need him, you throw him Sunday. And I think that's how it needs to be approached. How Jay Johnson will approach that, I don't know. But I trust Wes Johnson and Jay Johnson and their decision-making moving forward. I'd love to see Chase Shores. I would like to see several guys get a look at it. I mean, Chase Shores, Griffin Herring. There was one more. Yeah,
Christian Little.
Personally, I want Garrett Edwards in the pen because he's your fireman. Mm-hmm. So maybe Christian Little, maybe Blake Money. I think there's a few guys that can be looked at in that role. So I think that's why you keep it TBD because I don't think there's a clear guy right now. I really don't. Riley Cooper had a kind of rough go at it. I think he got kind of thrown into the fire, and that's why he kind of had a rough start. But really, after he came through the rough patch, he threw I think he threw up 3 zeros in a row and gave your team an opportunity to get back in it. The game, look, folks, the game is what it is. Thankfully, there was no meltdown on Twitter this time about the game. I think everybody's got common sense to understand that this team is better than that. And look, Zach, if you are melting down over the fact that these guys have gone 2 for 3 the first 3 weekends of the SEC series, you need to pump the brakes. And here's why, Zach. This is the first time. Listen to this. This is the first time since 2013 that you have won your 3 opening SEC weekends. Since 2013.
Wow.
So 2-3 on your first 3 weekend series in the SEC.
And against all ranked competition.
Against all ranked competition. And guess what?
Go back to back to back top 10 teams.
Well, A&M was 15, but top 15. You're going to go
Tennessee, South Carolina. Back to
back.
back.
I thought you said 4. I thought you said 4 back to back.
No.
Sorry. But yes, you're about to go 3 in a row, top 10 matchup. Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to South Carolina.
You're going 4 in a row, top 15.
Top 15, absolutely. And if you go take 2 out of 3 from South Carolina, I'm happy. I'm happy with that.
On the road.
And look, I think after that, we got Kentucky and Baton Rouge, Zach, and Kentucky just broke the top 10. So there's no break in the SEC. There's no break. So if you keep taking 2 out of 3 from top 10 teams, I'm okay with it. That means you're better than top 10 teams.
Yep.
2 out of 3 times. So, do I want to sweep eventually? Yes. Are we going to sweep eventually? Yes, the sweep will come. But you're playing good competition right now. Like, you're playing really good competition.
It's kind of like, I know you're going to be like, oh, goodness. But in disc golf, we have a saying, shoot for par, and the birdies will come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shoot for the series win, and the sweep will come.
Yeah, absolutely. It is so stinking hard to sweep in the SEC. It's so stinking hard. So take 2 out of 3 and be happy with it because it's the first time in 10 years, 10, that you've won your 3 opening weekend series in the SEC. So LSU is doing something they have not done in a very long time. And guys, they're still the number 1 team in the country, very obviously. They're 24-4. They're 6-3 in SEC play, and they're doing just fine. They're doing just fine. So no worry about that. Nicholls State, in-state team, Zach. I think we take care of business tomorrow night. Yeah. It's a midweek game. I don't know if there's much analysis you can do on a midweek game.
You'll probably see a shake-up in the lineup just to see.
Maybe, yeah, I was about to say. That's what I like to see is guys get a few looks in the midweek. I also like to see who they throw in the midweek and how they do. So I'm pretty interested in the pitching tomorrow night after Thatcher Hurd, how that looks and how that plays out. So that'll be interesting. I want to say the one thing I'll say, and then we can move on and wrap up the show. But yeah, absolutely.
The one thing I will say is I like that he didn't just go completely away from Thatcher Hurd. He's like, hey, he had a rough outing. We're going to plug him in on Tuesday night. We're going to immediately give him the opportunity to go out and try and figure out some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that. Because I think he needs it. He needs a little bit of confidence boost. And, what's better than, throwing him out there in a midweek where the competition isn't as good, give him a little bit of confidence boost and maybe, work some things out, with I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like your mechanics type issue. Yeah. Work the mechanics out some, build some confidence, and maybe that in return becomes, where he's able to compete in the SEC again and be that Sunday guy again. I don't know. But that's what I love about this decision that Jay Johnson has made to start him on Tuesday.
Look, Thatcher Hurd's going to keep starting. You need him to be successful, to be good this year. To be really solid from a starting pitching standpoint, you need Thatcher Hurd to be solid. You need Thatcher Hurd to be who he was at UCLA last year. He's just got to heal. I think he's got to do some more healing. It's a long process when you've had surgery to get back perfectly rounded out with your mechanics. It takes a long time. That's why, folks, Javen Coleman had Tommy Johns last year, and he's still not back. It takes a long time. Thankfully, he's thrown bullpen, by the way. He's been throwing some breaking balls and been throwing them for strikes. His velocity is up to 91, 92, last I heard. So really good news on Javen Coleman, too. It just takes a long time. You're already doing something that your body is not naturally made to do when you're pitching. Yeah. Your arm is not supposed to sling like that. It's not made to do that. That's why we have elbow injuries all the time because you're not made to pitch that way. I mean, you're not made to throw a ball in that way. So to have a back injury or an elbow injury or whatever, it's going to take some time to get the mechanics back because you're doing something your body's not supposed to do, and you're coming back from an injury. So give him some time, let him keep working his stuff out, and maybe he'll be back in it. I think we take care of business tomorrow night, Zach, against Nicholls State, and we look forward to a big-time series in Columbia against South Carolina. Do you have anything else to add?
No, we're good. Let's wrap this up. I know.
All right.
We're pre-recording this. We'll release it here soon. As we are pre-recording this, San Diego State currently down by 12 to UConn at the half, 36-24. So by the time this is released, we will know who the new men's national champion of college basketball is. So I'm going to go watch that. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back to wrap up.
Make sure you go follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue, for daily updates on the show and all things LSU sports. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to click off and hit that subscribe button at Tigers Avenue. We broadcast all of our shows live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
All right, guys, it's been a great night here in the Tigers Avenue discussing an incredible job by the women's basketball team in their national championship. Hats off to them and Kim Mulkey. Looking forward to some more baseball tomorrow night. Really hoping to see Thatcher Hurd bounce back. Another little news on the football front. Obviously, spring football is in full swing of things. We need to get some spring football updates for y'all here soon. But a recruiting update, Aaron Bruell, 2024 recruit Aaron Bruell is a 5-star kicker according to Cole's Kicking. I know kickers, they really don't get into like recruiting sites like Rivals, 247, ESPN, On3. But Cole's Kicking is kind of your site for kickers. He's the number 2 kicker in the country, and he's right out of the state of Louisiana. He just committed to the LSU Tigers this past week, so exciting pickup for the special teams. We need a great kicker. Last season, he kicked 51 of his 52 kickoffs as touchbacks. And as all of you know, as LSU fans, touchbacks is what we need after last season. We need a whole bunch of touchbacks. So if he can do 51 out of 52 touchbacks, he can come kick for LSU. So big-time pickup for the Tigers on the special teams side of things. Pretty excited about that guy. I think that's all we have for tonight here in the Tigers Avenue. We'll have a show to preview the South Carolina series this weekend and discuss anything else that needs to be discussed pertaining to LSU sports at the end of this week. So we'll see you next time here in the Tigers Avenue. 5-Star Hero takes us out. Peace.
Who that 5-star? And the LSU Tigers, LSU Tigers.